Okay. Okay. So let's get rid of this kind of artificial craziness. I mean, actually, that's kind of cool, but it's clear that there's a filter applied over this. I'm going to turn it off, and I'm actually going to drag it down to the garbage can and get rid of it. A much more natural way to do this, a true color grading. Well, there are a few ways to color grade, but one of the easiest and most effective combination of easiest and most effective ways in Photoshop is to use a gradient map. So click on the layers to make sure you're active, and then go up to the adjustments, and it's the bottom right one, gradient map. Click on that, and okay. So my gradient map is based on the colors I last selected over here in the bottom left. That's awesome. So if I hit this, these two arrows, I can reverse the whole situation. But you can click around with some presets and see which ones are a little more appealing. You can reverse them. I would unreverse them. Information I'm not worried about. Where is, that's the undo button. So we can go to the first one. If I reverse that, okay, gradient map. Where, sorry, I'm looking for, there it is. So if I go to the layer, double click on it, then this dialog box comes up. And I can mellow out the opacity, make it more or less opaque. Blend of red, blend of gray. Blend of gray is probably the best thing. I'm going to cancel that. Where is, oh, there it is. Okay, so all of these palettes, all these pre-selections, these pre-made ones that you can choose, you can mellow them out. If this one looks good to you, you know, as an exaggeration, but you think it's too much, then you can just select this gradient map 3 and lower the opacity. I gotta get rid of these guys. We have too many of them. Let me get rid of it. So I can always lower the opacity to 0 and then bump it up a little bit. If I don't like it, I can throw it out. Try it again, select gradient map, and hit this little arrow to get more information. And of these selections, yeah, they're not bad. I can go to this little gear thing, click on it. And for photographs, which I mean, color harmonies might work, just hit OK, but you get all this craziness, frankly. You can go to neutral densities, hit OK. And these are a pain to deal with. You can go, the thing you really want to do is, what are spectrums? Are they, did they update them or not? No, they didn't. Okay. What you really want to do is go to photographic toning. Okay. So these are more natural looking colors, and I tend to like the blue to black for the shadows, and the warm, whether it's tan or yellow, to white for the highlights. And you can see how things are stretched in different positions. The line from corner to corner represents the middle, and it just shifts depending on the filter. Okay. So when you're doing this, you got to think in an exaggerated scale. Okay, so the whites are white, the blacks are blacks, but the dark areas, the shadows are blue, they're cool, and the light but not white areas are warm. This is a very useful one. I like this one a lot. I'm going to say okay. I'm going to close this. And essentially what's happening is the white areas stay like the 2% and 1% and 0% white, like the ones that are almost purely white stay white, and everything else moves towards this kind of yellow orangey. And everything in the dark half is like black is black, but everything dark is just a darker and darker gray. Not gray, but blue. What I can do is change the opacity, mellow that out, and get rid of it, 0% opacity. But if I bump it up just a little bit, it starts to look a little more cinematic, a little more artistic. Let me turn it off. This is all that color we punched up. Or if I turn it off, looks more like an old school magazine, doesn't it? Where the dark areas are cool, whether they're green or blue, and the light areas are warm, whether they're orange, yellow, or sort of brown. If I turn it off, this is what it looks like. It looks a little more modern. If I turn on the gradient map, a little more old school. You can always redo it, turn off the previous one, take the new one, and say make everything sepia. We'll use that. Okay. What you can do is in this, see this kind of like, this is the map. So dark areas are dark, the light areas are light. The light half of the light areas are bluish. The dark half, roughly, not quite, are brown. If I go into the middle of this and double click, and it should bring up a dialog box like this. It means that like this is where the middle is. These are where the ends are. This is where the middle of those ends. So like if I want the dark-ish areas to really go dark, I pull it over. If I want the light-ish areas to really go light, I pull it over. It makes things higher contrast. If I want to mellow things out, I bring things a little more towards the ends. Okay, you could go pretty crazy with this. You could also select a color and change everything. Again, do your adjustments a little bit exaggerated and then adjust the opacity. 100% means it's 100% applied, 0% is 0% applied. Bump it up a little bit and it's a little more subtle. This last one we just did is not the best, so we'll throw it out. We'll go to the previous one. Actually, this. Before and after. This is kind of nice, actually. Bright colors are appealing, but ultimately this looks more like a natural picture. So that's color grading. And there are people who do only that professionally.